I play like tough, but I'm a very emotional person, and sometimes it's hard to let go of people, but you just go, I can't, you know?
Well, how you do it though? Like
I'll tell you what happens. Usually they do it to themselves.
Hi, I'm Loni Love, comedian, actress, Emmy Award-winning talk show host.
And I'm Erica Montolfo, writer, showrunner, and most importantly, Loni's super fun sidekick.
That is right, Erica. And thank you all for joining us for another episode. We have got a great one today. For our grown-ass woman topic today, we will be talking with Sandra Bernhard, my girl, the comedian, about protecting your peace. But before we dive in, we want to give a shout out to all of our listeners who have been sending us emails and recordings. We love hearing from you. And if you want to share your thoughts on the show or tell us what's on your mind, send us a voice note at gawtpod@gmail.com or record a voice message on our website, gawtpod.com. And if you're listening on your phone, follow us on Instagram. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right now.
And finally, guys, we have a special request for all of our grown-ass listeners. We're on a mission to reach 1,000 YouTube subscribers. So help us out by subscribing to our channel and sharing our video with your friends.
That's right. Now that we've done all of that, let's catch up with Erica and see what's been going on with her. Erica, what's going on with you, girlfriend?
Listen, it's Thanksgiving weekend and I'm hosting, so you know how bad that is.
You're hosting?
Yes, Loni Love. I'm cooking. Not cooking. I'm warming things up.
You're ordering. Okay.
I'm ordering. But I had to learn how to use my oven in my new house. I didn't know how to use it. So I had to get the concierge to come up and like help me turn my oven on. Listen, it's a lot. I've gone through a lot this year. It's been a lot of transition for me. And then my dad, of all things, Mr. Huxtable, was like, are you getting a ham? I'm like, no, I'm getting like a big turkey breast. He's like, well, I mean, we got to have a ham. So I had to go to, you know what it's called? Honey baked ham. You know Honey baked ham?
Yeah.
They should give me a free ham for this. But I had to go and pick it up. Not even deliver. They don't deliver. So I had to go to Culver City, Loni. And then you get there and there's a line of people around the corner, like waiting for their ham.
They're waiting on their hams, honey.
Oh, honey I had to get in line with, the masses.
To get in line with the masses.
Yes, to get my ham. And I go in there and I had to carry the ham back to my car. It's been a day.
So you're gonna have turkey, ham, and what's your side that you're gonna order?
Well, this was another big thing. Like I got a little bit of a fancy ordering, right? So there was like Brussels sprouts, like, you know, like it's kind of like blackened Brussels sprouts, something fancy. So my dad's like, well, are we gonna have greens? I'm like, no, like they don't have greens at like Italy, which is where I ordered the food from. So I have to make greens too. I mean, listen, my family is bougie, but they're also from the South.
You gotta go to the hood and get the greens.
No, I'm getting it. I ordered some greens from the hood because I can't do greens. Like I've tried. It's just they don't get right. They don't get soft enough.
We want to make sure that your parents see another Thanksgiving. So let's do that. Okay.
I'm not gonna kill them with my greens. Before we move on, though, my big thing is I'm gonna see you next week. I bought my tickets to your show.
Because it's your birthday.
It's on
week,
my
right?
birthday. It's actually my birthday. Well, my birthday week, of course, but your show is on my birthday, so I'm going to be there on my birthday, celebrating with you. Thank you for honoring me with a birthday show. I appreciate it, and it's going to be very fun. I'm excited.
You can dream. Okay.
Are you going to shout me out?
Yeah, we'll see. Let's move on to our new segment. The Grown-Ass Woman of the Week is our way of spotlighting women making a difference, whether it's someone in your community, a friend, or even yourself. Erica has picked the person this week. Erica, go ahead.
Drum roll. It is our girl, Cher. Fanfare. Boo, 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 boo. Trumpets.
And why?
I'm reading her memoir called Cher Part 1. And it ends in like 1980. So like she's got a whole part 2 and 3 and 4 because her life up until even 1980 was crazy. She's amazing. And I did audiobook and she reads it, so you get that Cher voice too, that like is
Oh
telling
my
her story.
goodness.
It's so good. I mean, this girl, her and Sonny, oof, that was a mess. I mean, she was like 16 when she met him, and he was like 20 something, and
Really?
she should not have been, what? But I mean, like, you look back now, like obviously they, he changed her life. But I mean, nowadays, if you were a 16-year-old, like shacking up with some 27-year-old guy, I mean, that would be frowned upon, correct?
Yeah, of course it would be frowned upon. But Cher is the ultimate. Like, if you have any of these apps where you can, these old school apps where you can look at her shows, the Sonny and Cher show, and then she went on to be just Cher. Just her outfits, Bob Mackie
Oh,
designed all
to
these
die for.
wonderful, beautiful outfits. And then she went on from, being this wonderful TV host singer to being an actress. And she had a number of great movies like around the 80s, 90s that we didn't even know that Cher could act. So she has this full circle life and moment.
Absolutely. I mean, she won an Oscar. She went from, like you said, like from, this young girl who had a show in television, then to movies where she won an Oscar, then going back to music where like in her 40s and 50s, she's still having #1 hits. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, like they said, what's the saying? Like, at the end of the world, there'll be cockroaches and Cher, because Cher's not going anywhere.
So that is our grown ass woman of the week.
Woo,
Cher,
well deserved.
her memoir. That's great. Okay, we've got a great episode for you all today. We're going to get into all sorts of stuff. We'll be talking about Billboard picking the top pop star of the 21st century. Also, Sharon Stone throws stones at Trump. Oh, we'll be talking about that. Also, a major shakeup for the Bravo show Vanderpump Rules. You don't want to miss this one. And in today's grown ass topic, we're going to be joined by our friend Sandra Bernhard as we talk about protecting your peace. We'll get into all of that and more after the break. This is Grown Ass Women Talking. Are you a grown ass woman with something to say? What are you unapologetic about? What's got you fired up?
Are you thrilled the kids are back in school? Or are you mad at your friends for asking you out after 9 p.m.? Did you get stood up on your third Tinder date this week? Whatever it is, let it all out.
Visit our website at gawtpod.com and leave us a voice message. That's gawtpod.com, or drop us a voice note at gawtpod@gmail.com. We might just play your message on our next episode.
So don't hold back. This is your space to talk about it.
And we're back with more GAWT. Now it's time for Grown Ass Woman News. Each week, I'll get Erica's take on this week's entertainment news, current events, and news about grown ass women. First up, Sharon Stone is in Italy. And
Everybody's
honey,
in Italy.
she's at this festival, the Torino Festival, and she was very vocal about why she believes that Trump won. She recently was at a press conference and she delivered this lecture. She basically said that, our country has not seen fascism, but Italy has. And Americans who don't travel, they are not as educated. And she says that 80% don't have a passport, they're uneducated, and they are in an extraordinary naivete. So basically, she's saying, and she got deeper, she says, we must say that good men must help good men. And those good men must be very aware that a lot of your friends are not good men. And you can continue to pretend that your friends are good men when they are not good men. And you must be very clear-minded and understand that your friends who are not good men are dangerous, violent men, and you have to keep them away from your daughters, wives, and your girlfriends. She went off.
Well, listen, I have a couple of things to say about this. First of all, we talked about Denzel last week and having to take his keys because he's being too honest. Like sometimes. How old is Sharon? Same age as Denzel. I mean, that's when you gotta take grandma's keys. But I will say, I don't think she's wrong. Listen, I was married to an Italian. I spent a lot of time in Italy, and unless you go out of the country, you don't realize like how wonderful America is and how much freedom we do have until you go to a fascist country. Even though Italy's not fascist now, but it has a fascist history, and the economy is horrible, and they have zero water pressure, so you can't even take a shower and get the soap off. I mean, that's the egregious part to me. But
Wow.
but I'm just saying, my point being that she's right in the sense that unless you have a more global view, you don't have the context of what we're going through geopolitically here.
I mean, I will say that, when you don't travel the world, you don't see what other people are doing. So
Exactly.
I think in that sense that she is correct. I just think that people are really upset. They're mad and they're letting out their emotions. And they can do that when they're in another country.
Well, I mean, but well, exactly. Like how Ellen and Portia, now they're in England, I guess, or London.
Yeah. I'm not moving nowhere.
No, listen,
I'm staying right here, and I'm
Of
gonna fight for
course.
my country and fight for my rights.
Absolutely.
You don't have to get up and move and all this. This stuff happens. We have, like I said, we have the midterms, which is in 2 years. If you don't like what's happening, and you're gonna see that a lot of people are not gonna like what's happening with these proposed changes that Trump is saying and things like that.
Absolutely.
But it was just amazing to me how vocal she was. And, and I only wanted to highlight it because I always tell people, get you a passport and travel. And what it will do is it will make you appreciate this country
100%.
a lot more. We
There is
don't
no
appreciate it.
absolutely. I mean, again, being married to an Italian and spending half the year in Italy, I could not wait to get back to America. There's so many things you take for granted, like water pressure.
Bad water pressure. Moving on. Billboard magazine staff has officially named Beyonce the greatest pop star of the 21st century, a recognition that highlights her extraordinary contributions to the music world. And this esteemed title has been awarded to her for the second time, emphasizing not only her remarkable talent and artistry, but also her immense impact and influence within the music industry. For the past 27 years, Beyonce has reshaped the pop landscape with her innovative sound, powerful performances, transformative music videos. And they have like a list of top 10 people that they put. Beyonce is number 1. They had Taylor Swift as number 2, Rihanna number 3, Drake number 4, Lady Gaga number 5, Britney Spears 6, Kanye West number 7, Justin Bieber number 8, number 9 Ariana Grande, and number 10 Adele. What you think about this list?
Well, first off, shout out to my cousin Bay, because we roll like
Oh
that.
Lord.
But here's my thing, like number 2, I think Tay Tay's probably pissed off about that, right? I mean,
those Swifties, yeah, they're gonna be.
They're coming for
upset.
Well, that's a good question. Who is more powerful, the Beehive or the Swifties? What if they had to do like a gang fight, like in like the Jets and the Sharks?
It could be like a West Side Story type.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Jets and the Sharks. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Beehive would get them. I think they would cut them. They cut a Swiftie.
I think people get caught up with, Taylor, she's putting out all these albums. She went from country to pop.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that. But when you think about the fact that Beyonce has done pop, then she had a dance album, then she did a country album right now. I mean, it's just, and then she always included the culture in some type of way.
Yes.
That had people changing. She has been very influential.
I get it.
I
get it. Here's my other question then. Why is Rihanna on this list? When's the last album she had? When did she put out music?
Well, I mean, when you think about it, though, we still listen to Rihanna's music.
But I mean, we buy her makeup now more so than listen to her music. I mean, I love Rihanna. Don't get me wrong.
Well, it says 21st century, so that means that's a big, a big chunk of time. And I like Rihanna. I don't think she should have been number 3.
Yeah, that's high up.
But now that I look at the list, I'm like, people. I mean, seriously, really haven't even you see somebody like Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande, she just sings, but it's
But what is she
It's
supposed to? What's she supposed to do? Well, she's in a
well,
movie
no,
now.
but it's like you see Beyonce, she's singing, she's dancing, then she does all her side hustles, and then she has this wonderful organization down in Houston where she's helping some young women with housing and things like that. And so I don't know, I don't know, I just see singers as not I see Beyonce more
Right.
like of a community type like person
Right.
than anyone else.
Well, I think to
Anyone
your
else
to
on
your
this
point,
list.
yeah, I think to your point, if the criterion is like influence, like if they're being influential outside of music, then that I think you're right. That Beyonce clearly like leads that. But if you're talking about who's influential in music alone, I don't think Rihanna should be on the list because she hasn't done anything in a while. But she's influential in the culture. She's influential in fashion, the same
And
way
see, that's what they
Kanye is.
added. They
Okay.
added all of that. They're talking about
Okay.
not only just the artistry and the
Okay.
songs, because if it was that, then of course it would be Taylor. But
Right.
of
Gotcha.
course they're gonna try to cause some type of controversy by putting Taylor number 2.
And the Swifties are gonna be pissed. I'm just saying, it's gonna be on.
But that doesn't take anything away from. I wish that we would.
I'm
stop
here
with all
for
this.
this. I'm here for the Swifties meets the meets the Beehive. I'm
You
here
just
for
want to
them.
see people fighting.
You know
Anyway,
that I do. I love that.
moving on. I love Gabby Sidibe,
Oh,
and I love her husband.
they're so
and
cute.
They're so cute, and those babies are so
Oh.
cute. And someone left a comment on one of her husband Brandon's recent posts. He always posts pictures of her. He posts pictures of the babies and stuff. And so someone posted, and they were basically saying, "Oh, she looks homeless," and he stuck up like,
Good
"Oh,
for him.
what you not gonna do?" He simply said, disrespectfully, "I know you ain't talking."
Good for him. Good for him. That's her man. That's what he should do. And now let me tell you, I saw she did one video where she was exhausted and she was like trying to put her wig on, and then she just like, you know what, fuck it, guys. I got this. I don't know why I'm doing it. She pulled it off because having a baby. I mean, I have so many friends who've had babies where I'll go to their house and there'll be like shit everywhere because it's like the baby has like just immediately like exploded the diaper the minute you come over. And so having twins, can you imagine?
I know.
I mean, you can't be cute, and I'm sure like that's lovely of him to be, in it with her because he's probably there changing diapers and exploding shit right with her, so he gets it. Don't come for his girl.
I love that he is always taking up for her. It's obvious that he loves his family, that he loves those babies, and it's so good to see that.
Yes.
And we are so big on judging people based on how they look and how we feel like, well, you're not deserving of something like this. Well, yes, everyone is deserving of love.
Absolutely.
Everyone is deserving of being respected. And I'm just happy that he just took up for her. So I just love it. I just
As
think
he should.
good job, Brandon. So
Great job, Brandon.
moving on, the musical Wicked and the action epic Gladiator 2 racked up a combined $270.2 million in global ticket sales over the weekend.
Whoa.
And it's a gift to the cinemas because they're
back,
they
baby.
need help.
They're back, baby. Yeah.
Wicked, the first of 2 Universal Pictures films based on a Broadway prequel to The Wizard of Oz, topped the domestic and the global box office. It pulled in $114 million plus $50 million in international markets. So, did you go see Wicked?
you know I didn't go see it. Girl, I don't leave my house, but I will say Wicked is one of my favorite musicals. I saw it, back in the day, and it's so good. And I want to see it. I'll just wait till it comes on, my TV, or hopefully I'll get it as a screener because I'm getting screeners now, so I'm excited.
You know what? I was just happy for the ladies, for Ariana and for Cynthia Erivo, because first of all, Cynthia, she's one award away from being the youngest EGOT ever.
Oh, for real? Yeah, she needs Oscars.
Yeah. So
she might get it. She might get it.
And she did her own stunts. She sang. Of course, she acted, but she's been in this business for a while. And there are some people that are like, "Oh, I didn't know who Cynthia Erivo was." Well, she played Harriet Tubman in Harriet. She's been in the movies Widows with Viola Davis. I mean, she's been around. I first saw her on Broadway for The Color Purple, where she won
Yeah.
her Tony, and she was phenomenal. I mean, that sister can sing. And of course, Ariana is Ariana Grande. She's fabulous, and it's just nice to see a movie kind of bring people together and has some meaning and some purpose to it. You know,
Well, I
'cause,
just love, like, first of all, The Wizard of Oz is a great story, but like the same way that Hamilton took this different take on history, like Wicked is such a different take on that story. Like going to the prequel of this relationship and seeing how the Wicked Witch and the Good Witch were friends at one point. So you get to backstory on the whole thing. I love when people are so creative when they can come up with that kind of stuff. It's so brilliant. I wish I thought of it. And do you think, I mean, again, going back to like the dynamic, like you said, Ariana Grande is like this pop star and she's like beautiful and everybody loves her and she's got her fan base. Do you think Cynthia was feeling a little disrespected, insecure? You know, she's playing the bad witch versus the good witch. It's all built in.
The one thing I will say is people, you don't know what happens while you're filming a movie.
Exactly.
And there are emotions, there are things that happen, and we don't know.
Did Ariana get the bigger dressing room? You know what I'm saying? Like, did Ariana get flowers?
There was a rumor as we move on that Ariana had gotten a $15 million payday, whereas Cynthia Erivo only had $1 million. And that started getting around on the internet. All right. But according to People magazine, no, Ariana Grande was not paid 15 times more than Cynthia Erivo for Wicked. The studio cleared up the pay disparity rumor. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo received equal pay for their work on Wicked, a spokesman for the studio said. So, because it started like hotcakes online, and people, you know, people don't understand. You know, the studios, they had to debunk it because they said, "Oh, Ariana was paid 15 million to play, and then Cynthia was only paid 1 million." And I will say this: that kind of stuff happens in Hollywood.
Yes, 100%.
And you know, so that's why a lot of people are like,
well, that's why it explains like maybe why Cynthia was in her feelings all the time about this, you know, this press junket, because maybe she's feeling a little insecure.
But no, the studio is saying that's not true. They were paid equally.
Right. No, I get that, but I'm just saying there's other things within the dynamic on set. Like, you know, you're an actress, you get there and you're like, your trailer is like next to the bathroom or something. You know what I mean? Versus like somebody else gets a big trailer with flowers. And I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm just saying there seems to be something that Cynthia is kind of holding on to, which maybe she feels like she wasn't treated as well as Ariana.
I will say that the studio was at times like Cynthia had been left out of a lot of the press junkets and press questions, and her co-star Jonathan Bailey, you know, was including her in a lot of the answers. So there was like some, it wasn't the stars that were doing it, it was the media, I feel. And this is why I say when you have good co-stars that recognize what's happening, they can help make it, you know, they can help pull it in and not make it so obvious and let people know, hey, she's a star too.
Right. This is
I mean, as a matter of, she's more decorated than Ariana. Ariana sing her butt off and got all the hits, songs and stuff like this. It's just that Cynthia has been busy making movies on Broadway. The girl has talent. She just hasn't done an album yet. You know,
listen, a movie, again, it's just like a television show. It's so unfortunate because it's built into the way that you film a movie or television show that you have a call sheet, right? For example, like Ariana's first on the call sheet, probably. You know, I mean, Cynthia might be number 2. There's a hierarchy built in to production, and that's unfortunate. But that people's feelings get hurt. You know, when you're 8th on the call sheet, and you're, you know, and you're supposed to be doing press with someone who's first on the call sheet, you're going to get different, accoutrement. And it's
Yeah.
unfortunate because it's hard to no one, not everyone can be first together. Like they don't just make Cynthia and Ariana first, like co-first. There's always somebody who by definition gets to be above you, and that's the nature of the business. And it's difficult and hard, and I get it.
Yeah. Well, at least, this is part 1. There will be a part 2 movie coming out. I'm just happy that you see a Black woman, making her way and being successful. And the thing, this is what's interesting, was that Cynthia was in The Color Purple, the Broadway version. And when the Color Purple movie came out, there have been word on the street that there was some type of tension, and that's the reason why Cynthia wasn't in the Color Purple movie.
Interesting.
And what's interesting even more is that it kind of goes back with with our theme about protecting your peace. Sometimes things aren't meant for you, because she didn't do the Color Purple movie, and look at what happened with that movie. And now she's in a movie that is a phenomenal hit.
Huge. Yeah.
And her talent speaks for itself.
Absolutely.
So it is what it is. All right. Moving on. Fans of Shaboozey call out the CMA Awards after the rising country star lost both categories he was nominated for, despite the massive success of his hit song, a bar song, Tipsy. It's still number 1. It is still number 1. They were like basically throwing shade the whole time, mispronouncing his name. He was, they're doing all kind of stuff just to irritate him. And then like this one guy got up and won an award, and he was like, "Oh, I guess we gonna kick the Shaboozey." So because he did that, Shaboozey got online and basically put out an X and said, "Ain't nobody kicking me." And we're like, "Ooh." This is a mess. It's a pure mess. So what do you think about this? I mean,
well, listen, first of all, I told you no one's checking for Shaboozey except for you.
And the number 1 song, the country song that's been there for like 19 weeks. What are you talking about? I will say this. When Black people
do country,
are when there's somebody that comes into the R&B category or the neo soul, we accept them with open arms. The NAACP will nominate them. The Grammys, of course, which is not community based, but the NAACP, Ebony magazine, we let everybody come in. Right. We don't sit back and make fun of people or make of their name. Come on, Adele. Come on, Justin Timberlake. We let everybody come in. Right. Come on, Justin Bieber. If your name Justin, come on in. We sing the songs with us. Sing your songs. We'll listen to Eminem. We don't sit back, and we don't do that.
But welcome to Donald Trump's America. Now the CMAs has become like flag waving. I'm proud to be an American. I mean, all of that is like, I mean, come on, you're surprised? And poor Shaboozey had to go up in there after the election being like, like the butt of everybody's jokes.
Well, we still have the Grammys, so.
Okay, I'm rooting for Shaboozey because
Thank you. Finally.
To be vindicated. Come on,
I had
Shaboozey.
to do 3 stories about this man for you finally to realize what I was trying to say to you.
You love Shaboozey. God, I mean, what's going on? James, you better be worried about Shaboozey. You better check Shaboozey.
Moving on. Demure is dictionary.com's word of the year. If that's news to you, here is the backstory. The word of the year, dictionary.com always picks it. And the credit is going to the lifestyle and beauty influencer Jules LeBron, and her catchphrase, very demure, very mindful. Demure means reserved, quiet, modest, but the reaction to LeBron's use of the word was anything but. People lost it. I mean, she literally put up this short video and she was saying, how to be demure at work. My hair is laid, my makeup is done, my lashes are on, very demure, very mindful. And I think people love the word because it's French and they never heard it. And it's like, it's something that they never heard before. It's demure. Demure? It sounds fancy. That's
Well,
what I thought.
well, first of all, I'm going to say we helped Demure get into the dictionary because we used it too in reference to our girl Kamala. Remember when we were talking about her pantsuits and we talked about her needing to be demure, demure. So we helped it get there. So I'm going to take credit, partial credit. You and I should take partial credit.
There's this new hashtag. It's called Women in Male Fields. And if you click on the hashtag, you'll find a whole bunch of videos or stills of women behaving the way many men of today behave towards women and giving them a taste of their own toxic medicine, a little tongue in cheek. So this trend is given like that Sierra a video in 2006, her song Like a Boy, where she literally was singing, I wish we could switch up the roles and I could be like that, tell you I love you, but when you call, I never get back. Or would you ask them questions like me, like where you at? You know, that's like that. So this is a big trend. And it's really funny. There's this one text. He's like 35 and single. So I asked him, what's your backup plan if no one marries you? Because a lot of females are, if they're 35, the men ask that type of way. So I think this is a cute little trend. It kind of gives men, a taste of their own medicine. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think didn't Beyonce had a song like that too, where she was like, "If I was a boy,
If
right?
I was a boy,
If I was a boy, yeah." And this again, you and I, with our fingers on the pulse of the culture, the female culture. We talked about this with Margaret Cho. We're talking about like, oh, do we want a guy to go home? We like order him to get out of our house after we've had some some ass. So that's a boy thing, right? That's like being a boy. And we talked about being, in the workplace with men, like. Yeah, I mean, this has been going on, and we again, I think, have pioneered the voice a bit. So, welcome women to our world, to being grown-ass women who, act like men and own their power.
Anyway, lastly, Bravo announced Tuesday that the entire cast of the Emmy-nominated reality show Vanderpump Rules has been scrapped in favor of a new group of cast members.
Good. I'm out.
do you watch Vanderpump Rules?
I mean, come on. Yes. I'm all about the scandal ball. I know all about that.
And Lisa Vanderpump celebrated the change up in a statement. She basically said the last 12 years of filming have been extraordinary and full of laughter, tears, and everything in between. I can't thank enough of those who have shared their lives and how I love them all. In the restaurant business, one shift away always gives way to another. Cheers to the next generation of Vanderpump Rules. The executive producer said that with profound appreciation for the original group and their iconic run, we can't wait for the audience to see a dynamic new group of co-workers and friends make their way through life together. Wow. I mean, to scrap the whole.
Yes. That's why those statements are so crazy. The idea, we love them so much, we've had so much fun. Ratings are down. Fire them all.
But they're the first, reality show to win an Emmy.
If the ratings are down, you gotta go. That's welcome to television, man. Because people revolted against the scandal, right? I think that they blew their load on that, and then ratings went down. And so it's lovely to say, we built this whole thing together, and you guys are wonderful, but the ratings are down, so you're all fired. And now we're gonna get a bunch of new crazy people in here.
I'm like, but y'all talk about the Scandival, but then they put Scandival on season 3 of the Traitors.
I know, I can't wait for that. It's my favorite show.
That bad.
I love Traitors.
This is why it's like, no.
No, Scandival's on everything, but again, I think Scandival blew his load on that show because all of them together, you can't the dynamic of the whole group is kind of imploded. Like nobody wants to work together anymore. It's too much trouble, so they're gone. Same when they rebooted Housewives of New York, everything that needs a reboot. Reboot is like the thing. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'll tune in for the first episode and we'll see if they're interested.
It's like, I'm just like, I just think that that's a bad move to scrap everybody. Like you have no familiar face. Like
Well, let's see what happens. I'm sure they'll get the ratchetest people ever. Listen, I grew up in Beverly Hills. I grew up with these kids. Like this is like, I mean, it was a different time, but they're gonna do the most just to be on TV.
and why are you looking forward to season 3 of the Traitors?
That is my shit. Let me tell you, that's my show. I don't know how I found it, but I'm so happy that I did. And
Well, it's
like,
gonna have Bob the drag queen from
I
RuPaul's Drag
love
Race,
Bob the drag queen.
Robin Dixon from the Real Housewives,
Oh, wonderful.
and Britney Spears' ex-husband, Sam Asghari.
Love him.
I think he is so cute, and
He's
he's really
so
trying
cute.
hard. He is trying so hard to make it in the industry.
I think he'll come off really well because I bet you he's really sweet and he'll be super cute and maybe he'll win. Maybe
He's
he'll be.
always down. He helps us at Project Angel Food
Aw.
every year for Thanksgiving. He's always down there and volunteering and stuff like that. He's a really very nice man. So, and you see, he's just trying to make it.
I think this is a good thing for him. It's a win for him, like to come on and like change his perception. Not that he had a bad perception, but now
Right.
people can figure out who he is. Like people didn't know who he was, right? If he comes
Yeah.
on and he's smart and he's charming, this is a win for him. It's a lot of people who come on. It's like, why are you doing this? Like Boston Rob, right? I'm like, I'm so sick of Boston Rob being on every reality show. Like he's on everything that they will cast him on. Clearly, he needs money because he's on every single show.
Yeah, I mean, we all do. And I don't know why the
Yes, that's
public,
true.
they don't necessarily like Sam, but maybe because of everything that happened with Britney.
Well, they love Britney. People love Britney.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, we'll see what happens. And
I'm rooting for Sam. I think he'll be great. I think people will fall in love with him. That's my prediction.
I can tell you he's a nice guy, but we'll see. And with that said, we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to jump into today's topic with Sandra Bernhard. This is Grown Ass Women. What? Talking.
Hi, this is Sandra Bernhard, and you're listening to Grown Ass Women Talking.
Today's guest is a performer, actress, singer, and author for nearly 5 decades in the industry. She has gained attention in the late 70s with her stand-up comedy pioneering the one-woman show, and continues today with live show performances throughout the United States and overseas. Her legendary status continued with television and roles like, you've seen her on Roseanne, Will and Grace, and most recently in shows like Ryan Murphy's series American Horror Story and the Emmy award-winning Pose. She is back on stage where she belongs with her live show, Easy Listening, this December. Please welcome the one and only Sandra Bernhard. Hey, Sandra.
Thank you, ladies. It's great to be with you.
Woo.
Thank you.
Okay, first of all, tell us what you're working on and what you're going through.
Let me just tell you something else that happened today. I was at Home Depot.
Oh God.
Getting
that's already a bad start of the day.
No, it's not a bad. I love going to places like Home Depot. For me, it is relaxing and fun. I needed a door stop for my bathroom door.
Okay.
And I was checking out, and the ladies, all ladies of color, exploded with excitement and were like, "Oh my God, we love you, we know you, we love you. Can we take pictures?" So I was like, to me, like Paul Mooney, who was my mentor, who discovered me back in the 70s, when people would come up to him or to me, he'd go, "Bernhard, that's your birds." Like when birds like land somewhere, they let you know that, water is nearby and that it's your lifeline. And fans are like birds. So he'd always say, "Bernhard, it's your birds." So I'm always so like honored and moved that so many people of color have been fans of mine from the beginning of my career, because Mooney, of course, took me to all the Black clubs where I cut my teeth in comedy. And to me, I mean, we're in a whole moment right now politically, but the bottom line is, without color, we would have no soul, and we'd have no taste, and we'd have no spice in this culture. So thank you, ladies, for having me on.
Oh, please.
You know, being a stand-up comic for 15 years, you were one of the ladies that actually inspired me and encouraged me to do it. And just, seeing your growth and the way you took the stage is something that, is to still be studied and to still through 50 decades, 5 decades.
Dare you?
Keep it going, honey. I want 50 decades. From your mouth to God's ears. 50 decades.
To be able to work so long, it just shows, your talent and what you are
Absolutely.
about. So, I mean, we are really, really honored.
And to that point, I just want to add on that as a woman of a certain age as well, who grew up in the 80s and 90s, like you were the badass that I would look at with Madonna, and I aspired to be you, became a writer because of women like you. And, I was on the Connor, so we share a little, overlap in the Roseanne world, the Rosanna-verse. So believe me,
that.
I mean, you are a badass and we all look up to you. So color or no color, girl, you got all the culture on your side. I mean, thank you for contributing to culture.
And we just talked to Marsha Warfield
Yes.
about her and Paul Mooney's relationship. And Paul Mooney, I just miss him so much. He's done so much for comedy. So, he was just one of the best,
When I lost Paul, I lost Paul way before he actually passed away because, he had dementia.
Yeah.
So, it was like all those years that I couldn't reach out to him and have him give me his advice and insight and wisdom. But we'd still have laughs because he loved Betty Davis. So whenever we talked, he'd always be watching a Betty Davis film. I mean, I've just been exposed and supported by so many incredible people in this business. It's kind of like everybody I always wanted to meet, many that I've gotten to work with, has far surpassed my wildest expectations. And even those people that I didn't end up really connecting with, but still getting to just be in their realm and their sphere was it has been just incredible, and it just keeps unfolding, and it's like it's such an adventure, and I never get tired of it. Every time I pack my bags to head to a new city or a new situation, I always meet somebody I like. I always make a new friend, and it's, to me, that really is what encapsulates being in this business and keeping it so relevant and so fresh. That you just never really get tired of it. And there's always somebody new and fabulous who just sparks you.
Well, we are happy to have you here. And for today's grown ass topic, ladies, we are tired, exhausted, and honestly too grown for this nonsense. As you step deeper into your own grown ass womanness, the patience of foolishness is gone. Ain't nobody got time to be played or dragged into someone else's drama. But here's the real question. How do you hold those boundaries, find your voice, and confidently say, I don't have time for this. This week, we're diving into the art of protecting your peace, embracing your voice, and owning the fact that sometimes you're just too tired for this nonsense. Let's talk about how to draw boundaries, avoid burnout, and still show up for the things and people that matter. Sandra?
I've just found over the years, I mean, you have to do some editing with people. There are certain people who I would have had the patience for in my 20s and my 30s and maybe even my 40s. And now I'm like, I just don't have, once you have a kid too, I mean, the business is hard enough, but then you add a child into that mix and you just go, I can't anymore. I can't put up with your bullshit. I can't put up with your demands. And it's not fun anymore for me to hang out with you. So you're going to have to just hit it. I have jettisoned a lot of people over the years.
Wow.
I try to do it with love and kindness and generosity because I'm not inherently a mean person. I know I play like tough, but I'm a very emotional person. And sometimes it's hard to let go of people, but you just go, I can't,
Well, how you do it though? Like
I'll tell you what happens. Usually they do it to themselves. Usually they set themselves up in a way where they have to face that they have let me down and other people down. And so it's a little less on me than just like we all come to a natural, conclusion. And it's sort of like, this just isn't working for anybody anymore. So let's just, part ways with, with love and goodness. And other times you just walk away. That's it. You just walk away.
But do you think, I mean, I know for me, like when I was younger, like in my 20s, for example, I had to be everywhere. Like I'd have FOMO. Like if you didn't invite me to something, I'd be like, why didn't you invite me? Like I got to be everywhere. I got to be at this party. I got to be at that party. Now it's a kind of been there, done that kind of thing. Like there's no party I haven't been to. There's nobody I haven't hung out with, and I kind of just want to be home and in bed at 10 o'clock watching Marriage Hell or More with my dog. Right? I mean, I think it's not.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, it's just like to get you out of your house at this point has to be something special or someone special, to your point. It has to be a friend who has been there for you. So you're not going to be going out of your way to be with people who have disappointed you. It's all that kind of like what is the hierarchy now of like priorities.
Right. Well, it's that for sure. And also, I mean, I think so many people now see what's going on their social media. That's another thing that's changed
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
So you kind of like, you can make a lot of informed decisions now that I couldn't make in my 20s. When I first moved to LA back in the 70s, it was like, first, there wasn't that much going on. I mean, I was performing every night, and then I was working, I had my day gig as a manicurist in Beverly Hills.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, you'd go out, you go dancing, you go out for dinner, but the world was so much smaller. I can't explain it.
Yes.
It was just like, and now it's just like, it seems so much bigger. And yet so much of it is just sort of, over produced because of
Yes.
social media. And you think there's all this shit going on, but in a certain way, there's less going on. It's just people standing in front of, displays and step and repeats.
Right.
And you're like, I wouldn't have wanted to be there anyway. You only have so much energy to go around. That's all I can say.
You're a mother. You also are a partner. So there are times when you can't say no, correct? What do you do?
Oh, well, from my personal relationships, I don't usually want to say no. It's like,
Got it.
Sarah, my girlfriend, who's brilliant, and we write a lot together. So when she comes home, it's sort of like naturally things happen, then I'll be jotting down because she's just a naturally funny person. And thank God my daughter, who's now 26, is, she's just doing her thing. She's working, she has her boyfriend, she has a very, very full life, and she's so social. And I kind of live vicariously through what she's doing because I couldn't do what she's doing anymore. It would just be ridiculous and embarrassing. You're only in your 20s when you're in your 20s.
Exactly.
And then once you graduate and go on from that, I mean, you can't just show up at shit when you're like,
right.
on this side
you
of
could,
things.
but it'd be sad.
It would be sad. It would, and I would never expect her to be my lifeline to entertainment and fun. That would just be
right. Yeah, that would be sad for her. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for both of you ladies. Okay, what is your go-to phrase when you're trying to shut down something like nonsense?
Mine used to be, I have cramps, but that doesn't happen anymore. So
cramps.
so
That's hysterical.
but I'm too old for cramps now. So that one's out. Now I just ghost people. Like I really do a lot of ghosting, which is not cool. But I think, I ghost, but then I come back. Like I ghost for a while and then I blame work, but I just have to
blame work.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, but I take a step back first. I mean, I definitely let you know that I'm not returning your texts in a daily fashion. You know what I mean? Which gives you kind of, to your point, Sandra, that when there's people who I kind of need to get distance from, the message is I'm not returning your call or text very quickly, so they know that I need some space from them, and then I come back around.
I'm just the opposite. I'll just usually go, oh, hi, honey, I'm just like crazy right now, and I love you, and I'll get back to you real soon. But again,
You're
it's like,
sweet.
I just called my friend Joyce, who I've known since the 80s. We wrote a script together for me and Joan Rivers. It never saw the light of day, but it was a great idea. And I just wanted to touch base with her, and we hadn't spoken. I used to talk to Joyce constantly. And I was just like, I need to just call her. I this texting thing, because you're trying to get in the nuances with text and you can't lay them in,
Right.
because it turns into a novella. So I just, I'm calling my friend Joyce and checking in. And it was
That's
so
nice.
nice
Yeah.
to hear her voice and just like have a download.
Well, I have a question then. I have a two-part question, really. First of all, do you think as we get older, it's okay to kind of take a step back from these friendships? Like you said, you'll check in, but you don't talk to your friends every day anymore. Like this woman that you did the script with. I mean, but you have a kind of a grace period now where you can come back and just start where you left off, right? There's no animosity there. And my second question is, you and your partner, Sarah, like, is she cool when you need to take a couple minutes away from her in the house? Like, do you go to different corners? You have different offices? Like, what is that like? Are you respectful of each other's spaces, or do you get your feelings hurt?
I think there isn't a friend in my life who I'm really close to who doesn't have a really mature overview of life that I can't pick up the phone and pick up where we left off. Because,
That's great.
and everybody's at the point where like, the world is so tenuous. The country is on pins and needles. It's everybody's just trying to keep their shit together. So we're all there. We all know we're there for each other. Now, in terms of my partner and that whole thing, it's hard. It's especially hard in New York City, because when you're in LA, you have a house. If you got into the backyard, there's more space. There's more places to escape.
Right.
But the great thing about New York is you can go for a walk, and I take George out for a walk. But she works all day long, which is great. So I have the apartment to myself because I need it to write and do interviews and do my thing. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. So by the time she gets home, I actually enjoy catching up and spending time. And so that usually is not an issue for us.
My ex-husband and I, like, I would joke about, we were married for like 12 years, and each house we would get would be bigger and bigger. And then like his office would be like one end of the house and mine would be the other end of the house, just because that's how we would get along better and made us, I guess, last for 12 years. But I think to your point, I think, as a writer, I needed to have space, and sometimes people don't understand that. So there's things that solitude that is needed, that isn't meant to be like, I don't love you. It isn't meant to be like, I don't want to be with you, but give me some space and then I'll come back to you at the end of the day and let's touch base. But not everybody can accept that.
I'll just say no. Like my boyfriend James, I'm like, we just no. I'm not sleeping with you because you snore, you fart, you do everything. I can't get rest. You want to leave the TV on, so you're gonna have another room, and I'm gonna have another room, and you know what? And we're still together. It's been
because
what,
James
5
receives
years.
it though, but see, not everybody is James. Not everyone. People get their feelings hurt.
But that's why you don't just sleep with everybody, Erica. We've talked about this. Sandra, don't pay attention to us. But we're in different times now, like even with social media. And social media, you are a very outspoken, opinionated woman, which is what we need. How do you handle that and still keep your peace when it's negativity coming your way?
Well, I mean, I've kind of gotten completely off of X, or formerly Twitter,
Oh, yeah,
because
me
that's
too.
just turned into a cesspool. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the only place I ever get blowback and that kind of nasty, toxic reaction to things. And I've gone to a gentler place. I mean, Instagram, of course, is it's very kind of neutral in its own way. And now I'm very into Threads, because the algorithm on Threads is like, it surrounds you with the love and the bubble you need. And I'm sorry, why do I want to be talking into a void with people who just aren't ever going to get on my wavelength?
Right.
I'll tell you where I do that is on my radio show, which I do on Sirius XM once a week, Thursdays at 11 a.m. EST.
yes.
And that's the place where I reach out to everybody, and I take callers, and people across the country call in, and of course we filter out the calls, because I don't want to get controversial one-on-one with people like that. I'm not in that world. I'm not a shock jock person. I'm an intelligent person who wants to, somebody can disagree with me, but it's got to be, it's got to be civil. I can't, those things really rock my world. I can't get into fights with people. But it's interesting because I reach people that I've never reached before. People call me from North Carolina. They call me from, the Midwest. So that to me is like I really feel that I've had an effect on people in a positive way, because you don't really know who's hitting you back on social media. You don't see them. You don't know who they are, unless they're your friends or other people in the business, but that doesn't really matter all that much. So I love my radio show because I really have that immediate feedback. It's like performing live, where you walk out in front of an audience and you can't fake it. It's like you're in your zone or you're not, and you better pull yourself together real fast because people have paid to come see you, and you cannot let them down. It's just unacceptable.
What is it that you do now that maybe you wish you did when you were younger to protect your peace and find your happiness?
Oh, I don't think there's anything. I never look at my life that way.
Mm.
A matter of fact, there are times where I wish I could still have just a little bit of the craziness I had in my 20s and 30s and 40s. But of course I can't because I'm in a relationship and I have a child. And if I did some of the things now that I did then, I mean, it would be all over social media. Not that I ever did anything. I mean, I've never been into drugs. I've never done anything because I was drunk.
So what would be a crazy thing that you want to do? Like, what's the one thing that you miss?
Just going out and partying and being with people and being a little bit, flirtatious and outrageous.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
you just have to draw the line. You can't do that anymore.
You didn't miss nothing. You probably would have ended up in a Diddy party. You didn't want that.
Oh, no, baby. No. Even when I ended up at those kind of parties, I was the one who was blocking everything. I never did.
That's what I mean.
You knew when to go home.
I never did anything at parties where I was like the next day, like, what did I know what I was doing, and I was blocking all the people who were being trashy.
Yeah, you knew when to go home. You knew when to go home.
Always.
I love that. Why do you think people get caught up like that though?
And
like
not say no or unless they're drugs.
Because they're really, really, really insecure. They're really impressionable. And I think a lot of people want to make it in the business, whatever that means to them.
Yes,
they want to be famous. They want to be like loved. And they think if they take it to that place, whether it's sexual or, or hook up with friends who are not really good for them, they think that's going to make a difference in their career. And it never does.
And it doesn't. You're right.
It backfires. I don't care what the outcome is in terms of like perception, emotionally, spiritually. When you do certain things, it takes its toll. So you've got to protect your heart. And the only way you do that is to know when to just cut it and walk out the door.
Where do you think you get that strength from?
Well, she's such a phenomenal stand-up. You have to, when you're standing up in front of people, saying, I'm telling you what I feel, and and you're writing jokes and you're presenting a show. I mean, I'm not speaking for you. I'm speaking for myself as a stand-up, but is that where the power comes from,
Well, yeah. I mean, I've always been, for as long as I can remember, I've been an observer. I like to observe human behavior. And in order to do that, you've got to be clear and you've got to stand a little bit back so that you can really take things in. And I've always been that person. So I immediately cut out a lot of the shenanigans and crap that a lot of people get sucked into. And I watch people get sucked in. I mean, I think I was at the Comedy Store the night that John Belushi died. I mean, he came in there and, it was like, I would watch people just get high and fucked up. And I'd go, you just see like chunks of their spirit just sort of missing, and you go, ooh, this isn't going to end well.
Do you have any spiritual practices, or religious practices that helped to keep you, centered?
Yeah, I'm Jewish and I really I love, I grew up, not super religious, but I went to Hebrew school and I got bat mitzvahed, and I love all the songs and the music because I love to sing. So I like to go to Shabbat and the high holidays, and because I love the music and I love singing in Hebrew. It's not like I'm religious. It's just sort of just taking it in. It's like a purification. When people are singing, spiritual songs at church, I want to join in. I fucking love it. It's so high. It's the highest form of connecting to the higher power.
Yeah, and it's community as well. I mean, that's, I think, a huge part of it.
Yeah. What advice would you give to anybody who is searching to find their peace?
I would say, first of all, breathe. You know, when you watch people, a lot of performers, and this was the best piece of advice I ever got from my friend Lindy Davies, who's an acting sort of guru in Australia. I did a film there. She said, "You're not breathing. You're holding your breath."
Mm.
And we all hold our breath, you
Yep.
know, and it's metaphorical and it's physical and it's fear-based. So I think you start every day by breathing and really connecting your breath to your body and your mind. And when you breathe, of course you're getting rid of all the crap in your body too. So I think it's a physical manifestation of the spiritual and the emotional. So when you're connecting to your body in that really healthy way, you also begin to like ground yourself in situations that usually provide anxiety and fear. You're getting rid of all that and you're seeing things much clearer so you can make informed decisions about who you want to be hanging out with, who
Mhm.
you want to love, and who you want to work with as a creative person.
It's such a perfect summation, I think, of us as women, because I think, again, as younger women, we weren't breathing, right? I mean, it's like, anxiety. And then, like the book Waiting to Exhale, as we become older and grown ass women, we learn to exhale, right?
Yes.
I love that. And before we let you go, can you tell us a little bit about your live show, Easy Listening?
Yes.
It's a kind of a collection of stories about what's happened during the year, people I've met, recollections, all interwoven with, really eclectic music, songs and music that have inspired me throughout the years. And, it's kind of like, it's a one woman sort of like celebration of stripping away the past year and where I'm at, getting ready to jump into the new year.
Sandra
Mwah.
Bernhard, thank you for joining us
So
today.
much love.
And to our listeners, be sure to check out her live show, Easy Listening. Details and a list of cities near you will be in our show notes. Check
Thank
out
you.
Sandra's radio show, Sandyland, on SiriusXM, Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. EST. And when we come back, we're going to do the takeaway with Loni and Erica. This is Grown Ass Women Talking.
I mean, how amazing is Sandra Bernhard?
Oh, it was great. I mean,
What a badass biatch.
You're supposed to say now it's time that we get into the takeaway.
I'm on my way there. Now it's time for the takeaway. Loni, what did we learn today?
First of all, didn't you have a good time with Sandra Bernhard?
I had the best time. The best time ever.
What I love about having different people, grown-ass women, to talk about different topics is that everybody is different and everybody has a different way of, presenting things. The thing that I got from her conversation is that, when you love someone, your piece is different than with your friends. And I totally can understand that because I'm like that with you and James.
Oh, you put me in there. Thanks,
No.
Lon.
You guys are totally
I'm on the other side.
outside.
Oh. I thought me and James were on the same side. How dare you?
Y'all both on that same. I'm gonna ghost both of y'all, okay?
I thought you were saying you love me and James.
Like both of y'all are over on the side. But seriously though, there are some tips to help you to protect your peace. Sometimes it might be helpful to journal about what needs to change in your life. And, if you don't journal, just jot something down on your phone or maybe do a voice memo, because you have to understand what is happening. Why do you feel the way that you feel? If you're feeling anxiety, if you feel like you're doing things like you're drinking excessively, or maybe you're doing some drugs or something to get away, that means that your peace is not being protected. And protecting your energy isn't just saying, it's a way of being. Understand that. And so that's what I got and I took away from what Sandra was saying, is that She has been in this business for so long, Erica. And you know, this business can be so hard, especially on females. But for her to still be standing, for her to know who she is and what she wants, she understands, you know, where her peace lies. And so I just think it's phenomenal.
Well, can I tell you what I got out of this?
What did you get out of it?
First of all, both of you guys are badass bitches. And this whole comedy world, I could never. I mean, yeah, I'm a comedy writer, but the stand-up part, and I love how you brought that into, you know, Sandra's story, because I do think there's a superpower there that we mortal women don't have, for sure. But I also think, ironically, the power of yes is something that you both have, even more so than the power of no, because Sandra very much. Well, listen, see how I flipped it on you? See, Sandra is very much the person who was like open to meeting people and experiencing things. That's a yes. And I know my Loni Love likes to say yes to even to me once in a while. So I think that no is a good barrier, and boundaries are important, but being able to say yes to experiences and adventure and challenges is what I see in you and Sandra. And I applaud you for that, for the power of yes.
Well, we applaud.
Look what
you
I did
too.
there. Me. Oh, thank
You've been
you.
in this industry as long as Sandra, so I understand.
Dare you? Listen, don't be talking shit about my Sandra. No, I'm kidding. I have been in this industry a long time. I'm learning to say yes and no.
Yeah, there's a difference between yes and a difference between no, and you have to know when to do both of them.
Exactly.
And not feel guilty about it. So.
Exactly.
And thanks again to Sandra Bernhard for joining us. And check out her live show, you guys, Easy Listening, and her radio show, Sandyland, on SiriusXM. Thank you all so much for joining us for another episode of Grown Ass Women Talking. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram or YouTube at GAWT Pod. I will be everywhere. December, Miami Improv, December 15th. One show, come see me. Also at the Ice House in Pasadena, the 5th.
I'll be
and the
there.
19th. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We are thankful for you all.
Yes.
Understand that and be grateful.
Gobble, gobble. Love to everyone. Grown Ass Women Talking is a collaboration between True Love Productions, Dunnigan Lane Productions, and Heart Media Productions. Our executive producers are Loni Love, Erica Montolfo, and Siege Pokinghorn.
This episode was produced by Siege Pokinghorn and edited by Nicholas Crawford. Our music is by Cole Curtis. Special thanks to Elizabeth Munch